Today on 5 by 5, we're going to be talking about using a chaplain in business and how that might be something that you might want to consider to bring a value to your employees to both keep them happier and to retain them for a longer period of time. Hey, it's Paul Blough, time for another 5 by 5. And today I'm going to be talking with you about using a chaplain at work. Now, Blough Tech has used a chaplain for several years now, and it's a service that we added because we really care about our staff, and we really, in the kind of ranking of who we think is most important, we really put team number one, and we put customers number two, and kind of build the chain all the way down to the very bottom where we would have the investors and the team being the most important part. We really want to put a lot of emphasis on what we can do to add value there. So we're always looking at various programs that we can do to make things better for work. And so one of the ideas that we had was to bring a chaplain in, somebody that was kind of neutral, to be able to come in and help resolve problems, but more so just to encourage people and to sometimes just be someone that they can talk to. This is my good friend Danny Hendrix, and Danny and I have worked together for years and years in ministry, but this chaplain thing's kind of new for both of us, and I want to let Danny talk just a little bit about his experience of being a chaplain for guys at work.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, and of course, thanks for bringing me in from the beginning. This was kind of an idea that we stumbled upon more than planned, and it was a way for Paul to appreciate his employees in a way that he didn't feel like he could before. And what we realized along the way is his team is his most valuable asset. Absolutely. You don't make any money in business unless your team is productive, and your team's not productive unless they're happy. And so this is less a preaching ministry or a traditional ministry kind of thing. This is almost more of a hybrid between ministry and an HR resource. And so I spend a lot of time weekly just going around and talking to his guys, building friendships with them so that I can come up with things that make them happier at work. Find out, what's your favorite movie, how do you like your steak cooked, just odd things like that, but that build a friendship with them. Our hopes is in the long run, then if they have a need, there's already a friendship built that they can talk to me about their deeper needs, which is something that, not that we can find, any business really offers their team nationwide. If you look at the big picture, the most popular places in the world, they offer all sorts of benefits to their employees, whether it's massage chairs or nap pods or whatever it is. Well, we're in a pretty high-paced business, so we can't offer nap chairs or whatever it is, but we can find other ways to make the employees feel appreciated. That's right. And so we really want to love on the team and let them know how valuable they are to us.
Right. And so one of the things that we kind of discovered is that it's very difficult for the senior leadership, particularly the folks at the very, very top, to produce the same kind of vibe or feeling that they can get from a chaplain coming in as a really independent individual that's not in a leadership or supervisory kind of role. And so as a leader in the company, I sometimes have to be the bad guy. I have to tell them things that they don't want to hear, and maybe why we can't pay you as much money as you would like, or why you can't have that particular day off. And so I can be friendly, but it's really hard to be friends with the people that I work with. But that's not the case with a chaplain. Chaplain comes in and doesn't have to worry about the negative pieces of business and HR, because it's really not focused in on compliance parts of HR, or let me write you up because you didn't come in on time. But it's much more in the encouraging state. And to give kind of an illustration, even when there are problems, you can take a very different approach to that. So we can make sometimes Danny aware of a problem that we're having with a person, a staff member, and instead of taking it from a disciplinary standpoint, you can take it from a much more positive standpoint.
Yeah, I like to encourage employees, whereas Paul could come to an employee and say, look, you've been stealing money and we've caught you, and we're going to have to reprimand you, and this is going to be either a termination or a probation or whatever. If I discover a situation like that, I can say, look, do you have a need at home? Is there something that's not being met? But by the same measure, bad news can come a little better from me than it can from Paul as well. Like if an employee says, well, I'm just not getting paid enough here. Well, it sounds different coming from Paul than it does from me when I say, you know, what I've always found is you get paid for what you're worth. So if you create more value for your boss, I bet he'd pay you more.
Right. Yeah, and so I think that's a great point, and there's lots of examples of that from coming in late or having a conflict with another employee and handling it inappropriately. So we can take those things and we can help Danny become aware of that, but he also discovers things that we don't even know about. And so we've measured customer satisfaction and team satisfaction for years, and our hope is that through this is that we're steadily increasing our team satisfaction and making them understand how valuable they are to us. And so we look at this as a service to provide to our team to be able to help them to be happier at work, to be able to be more effective, and really ultimately to try to rise above the level of what pay can do to really help them feel more self-actualized, to be, feel like they have a higher self-esteem because we actually do care, and we do.
And Paul's very benevolent, so he's speaking specifically to the benefits of his team, but also don't let it be lost in the mix either, the benefit that it can be hopefully to the employer, sure. Which is, now you don't have to go every time somebody is crying because somebody else took their lunch from the refrigerator. I can come in and handle some of that, so that if you don't have to handle your people problems, how much better would your workplace be?
Right, and we're looking at it from a retention standpoint too. It's extremely expensive to replace an employee, but to hold on to one, it's very cheap. And so even if we have to pay for a service like what Danny's offering to help us hold on to that staff member a little bit longer or maybe forever, it's well worth it. So that's all the time we have for today. I hope that this has been of some insight to you. This is Paul Blough signing off.